Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, Home with Kimberly. Today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect coconut cream pie. So coconut cream pie is one of our favorites here. Definitely mine and my stepson's. He actually requested I make this pie. Even my husband, who is a die-hard apple pie fan, loves this pie. It's just got a rich, creamy custard, not too sweet, but just the perfect amount of sweetness added to it. And then with the flakes of coconut added in, it just gives it a great texture. So I know you're gonna love this recipe. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, tap the bell so you'll get notifications of when I post a new video, and let's get into it. Okay, so I have to start this segment with a shout out to my mom. She made this apron actually for my mother-in-law, but I am stealing it for this video. I absolutely love it. She does have an Etsy shop, which I will link down below. Hee. So we are going to start on our crust first, and we're going to add 1¼ cups of flour, about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix that together, and then add in about 5 tablespoons of cold butter, or you could use about 1/4 to 1/3 cup of shortening, and cut it up into small pieces so it will be easier to incorporate. So now if you have a pastry cutter like I do, just use that to incorporate the butter into the flour mixture, and it should resemble coarse crumbs. Oh, at this point I was having to explain to my mother-in-law why I had on her apron. Ha! Next, I'm going to add some cold water. I start out with 4 to 5 tablespoons and start mixing it with a fork, and then I can add more if I need to. You just want it to come together into a nice soft dough so you can roll it out. So now it's time to put some flour down on the counter and roll out your dough, just big enough to where it will fit in your pie pan. And here's a little trick for you. Just roll up your dough onto your rolling pin. That makes it easier to come off the counter, and that way you can transfer it into your pie dish without ripping it apart so much. Now just spread it out in your dish and take off any excess dough around the edges, and you can start crimping your pie crust if you want it to try to look a little bit fancy. And I'm just simply pinching my thumb through my index and thumb of my other hand. And it certainly doesn't have to be perfect. It just makes it look more rustic, I guess, if you see a few little mistakes in there. Set the oven to 450 degrees and bake it for 9 minutes. You're going to put a double layer of foil down over it. That's just going to prevent the crust from over browning too quickly. Bake it for 9 minutes at 450, take the foil off, and then put it back in for another 5 to 6 minutes to get it a nice golden color. Now it's time to start on the custard filling of the pie. I'm going to add 3/4 cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of cornstarch or flour to the pan. Just stir that around and get it incorporated. Then you're going to start adding in 2½ cups of half and half. And this part's going to take a little bit. Once you get that incorporated in, it's just going to be a stirring game from here. You're going to stir for probably a good 10 minutes or so until that starts to thicken. At this point my camera started acting up, so I missed the part where I tempered the eggs, and I just simply added some of the hot custard mixture to the egg yolks. I have 4 egg yolks, I just brought those up to temp so they would not scramble, and then poured those in the mixture. And then you saw I added 1 tablespoon of butter and about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And next I'm going to add in my coconut, about 3/4 cup to 1 cup, depending on your preference. Stir that around and the custard mixture is finished. And finally, we're ready to begin the meringue. I had 4 egg whites at room temperature, and I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla and 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Then it is simply time to start whisking the eggs up. My kitchen egg went out on me, so I'm just using this little hand mixer. Just whisk them up until they start forming soft peaks. At this point, you can add in a tablespoon of sugar at a time, and I add in a total of 6 tablespoons until they start to stiffen up. And now it is time to simply assemble our pie. You're going to dump in your hot filling, and then we are going to add in our meringue on top. And you want to make sure to seal your meringue to the edges just so it won't pull away from the pie once it starts to bake. And I just start to take my spatula and make these little motions up in the air just to make it stick up and look a little more fancy on top. Then just sprinkle a little bit of the coconut on top. You're going to bake this at 325 degrees for 30 minutes, and it is the perfect coconut cream pie. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.